Welcome to Your Moving Mind, where we talk about mindful movement, small habits that make you a better person, how to learn, change and grow, and how to express ourselves fully in body, mind and spirit. Your Moving Mind with your host, Michael Landau. You don't come up with E equals mc squared if you don't know anything about physics, but neither by studying physics. Einstein was a physicist. He studied the physics that was available at his time. That physics didn't include the theory of relativity, but his expertise included a deep familiarity with the concepts of mass and energy. Without that familiarity, he wouldn't have come up with that amazing equation that changed the world of physics. It was an intuition. It was something new that seems to have come from nowhere, but it sprouted from a fertile, rich terrain of knowledge. What is intuition? Is it some divine truth that pops up in your mind without warning, and all of a sudden you know it to be true? That's what it seems like. Intuition isn't the result of a step-by-step contemplation. It's not a conclusion you reach by thinking logically. It's a kind of knowledge that appears magically out of nowhere. So it seems, doesn't it? But actually, it's just the way our mind works. Einstein might have been a genius, but he wouldn't come up with that revolutionary intuition if he hadn't studied physics for years. If he were a musician, he'd come up with marvelous musical intuitions, but not with E equals mc squared. This is what I'm getting at. Intuition is knowledge you come up with in your area of expertise. It is how a creative mind functions. And we all possess a creative mind. Brilliant cooks intuitively know what ingredients would go well together. My wife does this all the time. She listens to recipes on the internet and knows which ones would be great. If she didn't have that intuition, she'd go crazy with the amount of information that is out there. And then she can try a recipe and she'd fiddle with it, maybe replace an ingredient she doesn't have with something else, maybe add something that feels right. She uses intuition to make decisions constantly. That's because she loves cooking. She cooks a lot. She's an expert. And by spending time and energy in this field, her intuition became more and more reliable. She doesn't consider it miraculous or magical. She simply knows. She knows things that are not based on previous experiences. That's intuition. It's the magical knowledge that comes with experience. If I try to cook something by throwing random things together, the result is quite different. I am clearly not an expert, so my cooking intuitions are not that great. Composers come up with new musical ideas. They can combine sounds, rhythms, instruments in new ways, not by following a recipe, but by following their intuition. It's the same kind of magic. They know what would work, because they have years of experience of following the rules, of learning what has been done before. Then they can do something new. To come up with something new, something that hasn't been done before, you must know a lot. When you're an expert, you start having intuitions. Sometimes they won't work. Sometimes your new idea will be a great flop. That's part of becoming an expert. Most experts don't go there very often. Some cooks will follow recipes to the letter and never try something new because they know the recipe works. And they have no time for new things that might fail. Many of us are so busy performing, and there's so much at stake that we can't afford to fool around and experiment. This is true in most areas of expertise, and it is sad. We are stressed, we must get things done, and we have no time. This is part of our modern reality. This is really bad for intuition. Intuitions need time. They require a fresh, calm mind. Otherwise, we don't even get to hear them. They don't scream. They whisper, they suggest, they wink at us, and we must pay attention. Einstein said this about himself: "It's not that I'm so smart, it's that I stay with problems longer." And that is exactly where the magic happens. Stay with the problem, play with it, give it your attention. Don't get frustrated when it stays a problem for a long time. Be curious instead. And by the way, intuition is an act of creation. It is how spirit manifests. I have no problem thinking of it in spiritual terms. Intuition creates new things, things that didn't exist before. You're an expert in many areas. Give it some time, be attentive to that soft inner voice. It is there, I know it is. And you'll find out that you're a spiritual being immersed in the act of creation. Isn't that wonderful?